Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my book haul. I don't know what I'm calling this, my winter book haul. So as you can tell, I am back in my apartment in Minnesota. Hello, editing Alex here. I just find it so funny how in this video clip, I'm holding a cup of coffee, but you cannot see the distress I am in because 5 minutes prior to filming this, I actually spilled the coffee all over my bed. And I'm just like getting through it. We're filming this video. But okay, back to the video. And I just went home for winter break, so I'm back now, finished quarantining, ready to just create more content with you guys. First, before we get started, I just want to say that it is February, which means it is Black History Month. So I'm going to leave a list of organizations to support. Not that we should just be supporting Black-owned businesses and Black-owned bookstores in the month of February. I just thought I'd leave it in the link down below. If I link to any of purchase links for any of these books, they will be from independent bookstores, so I'm just gonna let you know that down below. And also follow my Instagram, I'll put it on the screen right here at Alexandra if you are interested in just following my day-to-day. I usually post a lot of the books that I get from publishers or books that I buy like on the fly. Like I update it consistently on Instagram, so if you want to know what I got first without watching this book haul, follow me on Instagram. I also post a lot of bookstagram pictures with these same books. So yeah, anyways, let's just get started into the video and let me show you all the books that I got. Okay, so the first book that I have here was sent to me from Bloomsbury Publishing. This is The Mask Falling. It is a finished copy of The Mask Falling. If you watched my previous book haul, you'll know that they sent me an ARC and I already read this book early. It is out now, so if you haven't started the Bone Season series, what are you doing? It's one of my favorite series of all time. I just had a friend who recently DM'd me on Instagram who said that she read the series and that she loved it, so it's a real thing. If you are interested in a fantasy series this winter and you want something to keep you warm and cozy, start this series. So anyway, Bloomsbury sent me a finished copy, and while I was so grateful, I was also like, crap. I bought a indie-bound version in this like limited edition version. They both look pretty different, but they're the same thing. Anyway, so now I have 2 copies of this book, which is great, but also like, this was so much money. So anyway, I got these books. The second book that I purchased in the month of January was early on in January. I bought The Moonstone by Wilkie because I knew that one of my classes was requiring me to read this over break. I read this for like a Victorian lit class that I'm taking this semester, and while we got a bunch of disclaimers about how it was written in the 19th century, a lot of the views are like very problematic to like the current cultural moment. It was just hard to get through this book. I will talk more about it in my wrap-up if I ever choose to film that video, but I just didn't. I couldn't get through it. It took like a month to get through it, and I was like slugging along really slowly. It also could be just because I wasn't in the mood for like a detective novel, but anyway, I purchased this one. So the next book, The Project by Courtney, thank you so much Wednesday Books for sending this to me. I was highly anticipating this one, and this actually came into my mailbox over break, and I wasn't here, so I couldn't read it early, but I still read it in time. This one has already come out into the world. This book is kind of described as like a cult book, and while I enjoyed it a little bit, I don't think it blew me out of the water. I don't think it was anything to the level of like Sadie. A lot of people are saying like they like Sadie better. I totally agree with that. The Project is described as this like cult book that basically follows our main character Lo Denham as she is like trying to expose this cult because her sister, who joined the cult a few years ago, has like now disappeared, and she can't ever get in touch with her, and she blames this cult for kind of stealing away her family, her last bit of family. It's definitely an interesting premise. I thought this would be like an interesting in-depth version of like cults, because I don't know much about cults. I haven't read cult books, but I don't think it added much to like the cult horror genre. I did like the perspective of the main character. She's an aspiring journalist, so she kind of uses this expose as like her main first story or first beginning into like the writing journalism world. I really enjoyed that perspective. Anyway, I gave this 3.5 out of 5 stars. If you haven't picked this up already, I think it's an interesting read. Definitely check it out. Now, on the other hand, a book that absolutely blew me away was Sunny Song Will Never Be Famous by Suzanne Park. If you're like me, this is also not on your radar. This wasn't on my radar until the publisher sent me this. This one comes out June 1st. And this is about a social media influencer who gets sent to a digital detox farm camp. And that just sounds amazing on its own. But when you read it, you're like, oh, this is supposed to be a lighthearted contemporary novel, like cute romance, blah, blah, blah. But no, it is so introspective. It talks so much about like social media and about like social media influencers and about how much like we care about like likes and like what our lives look like and how they're different from like reality. I thought I had a really great conversation on that, really cute romance, and actually funny contemporary book. Like, I'm sorry, I've just read a lot of romance books that are just not funny at all, and this book is hilarious. And yeah, I love the romance in this book. What's not to say about this? I think this is like one of my favorite like romance books. And anyway, definitely check this out. I think the main character is Korean, so she adds a lot of her culture in here too, which I wasn't expecting as well, because in a lot of like romances, especially young adult romances, it's very much fluff and not like cultural aspects or like, you know, heritage and all that. Anyways, I enjoyed this book. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. Okay, the next books that I have here are either sent to me or purchased, but I have not gotten to them yet. So the first book I'm sharing is The Stone's Guide by N.K. Jemisin, which is the third book, the finale of the Broken Earth trilogy in N.K. Jemisin's Broken Earth trilogy. If you didn't know, all 3 books won the Hugo Award in the year that they were published, so that's like freaking fantastic. And if you read all 3 books in like after one another, you'll understand why they all won the awards. Anyway, this is one of my favorite fantasy series now of all time. I just love it. I love it so much for like not only its magic world and complex like magic system. I love how it just talks about broader themes, like it's like an allegory on like racism and slavery, and it just has a lot of great, it's just great. The writing's beautiful, the way she just does stuff is fantastic, and yeah, I'm excited. This is actually my current read now, so I can't wait to finish the trilogy and move on to her other books. Speaking of N.K. Jemisin, I kind of broke the bank again and bought The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin. This is her most recent release. I don't know anything about this book, and I'm sorry that I can't provide a synopsis. I will leave all links to this down below, but I kind of want to go into this like how I went into the 5th season, just not knowing anything and just realizing that I'm going to be in for a good time. And all I know is that this book takes place in New York City, which is my heart and soul, so I'm very excited to read about this and making me very homesick. I've heard it's really good, so I'm super excited. And yeah, the cover is beautiful. These next 2 books here I have are from Instagram campaigns that I thought I'd show you on here anyway because I think they're really cool. The first one is City of Villains by Laure. This one is supposed to be like its first book in a new crime series featuring Disney villains. It follows this girl who is like an intern at the police department, and she's like trying to become like an actual policewoman, and it's just really cool. It sounds awesome. I already posted my picture of this, which I will put over on the screen because I'm very proud of it. And yeah, thank you so much Disney Books for sending me this. It looks really awesome. I love Ursula. Ursula is my favorite Disney villain, and she is in this book, so I am hella excited to read about Ursula. The next book that I got was also sent by Disney, and it is Brightly Woven by Alexandra Bracken. When they asked me to join this campaign, I was super interested because I do love when publishers do like graphic novel versions of like novels, because I think it's just it's easier to read, and also like sometimes I'll find that if there's a book that I wasn't interested in reading in like the novel format, I'll be interested in reading the graphic novel format. So anyway, Brightly Woven is the graphic novel version of Alexandra Bracken's novel Brightly Woven, obviously. And the art is just beautiful. I love this. It just has these very like old comic vibes. I don't know how to describe it. But anyway, this is about like I think the main character is like a weaver, and she gets plucked by this young wizard to kind of help him on his journey to save the world. And they go on this huge journey, and there is some bizarre weather stuff. Sounds amazing. The art looks really amazing, and I'm trying to read more graphic novels this year. I always say that, but I just want to like change up like the form in which I read books. Like I want to read books in verse, and I want to read translated fiction and all of that. I just want to read books in different ways, you know, like audiobooks, even though I detest audiobooks and I can never get through them because my attention span is the size of like a walnut. Like I cannot sit down and listen to an audiobook. So anyway, graphic novels. The next book I have here is The Beautiful Struggle by Ta-Nehisi. I believe I'm saying that correctly.
Okay, so I actually pronounced his name wrong. This is Editing Alex again, coming in with a correction. It is actually ta-nehisi Coates, not Cotes. So yeah, just know that I pronounced it wrong for the duration of this clip.
And this is super interesting. Penguin sent me this, and it's really short, but it is ta-nehisi Coates' memoir, but it's been adapted for a young adult audience, which I think is awesome. If you don't know, this author is the author of The Water Dancer, which is a highly acclaimed book. I've been hearing so much about it. I really want to read it. And yeah, I think this is going to be an interesting read, especially because it's been adapted for young adult audience. But anyway, I'm excited to read this book. The next book that I have here is In the Land of the Cyclops by Karl Ove Knausgaard. This was sent to me by Archipelago Books. Archipelago I've been working with for a long time on Instagram. They've been sending me a lot of their translated fiction or translated books. A goal of mine for 2021 in reading goals is to read more translated works. This is translated from Norwegian. And they just sent me. It's like a beautiful like book about, I think, like art and like talking about art. There's a lot of great photographs in here. I'm excited for this. I'm just excited to read books that are kind of outside of my comfort zone and a little different from like normal novels. So anyways, this book. So the next book that I have here is Hani and Ishu's Guide to Fake Dating by Adiba Jaigirdar. This one I'm so excited about. This is probably going to be my next read after I finish a lot of my current read. But this one follows our main character named Hani, and she comes out to her friend group. She's like a really popular person in school. She comes out to her friend group as bisexual, and they basically all like reject her. They say, how can you be bisexual if you've only dated guys? So she panics and says that she's dating this girl named Ishu, and they get themselves into like a fake dating situation and then start developing real feelings for each other. I love myself a fake dating trope, as you all know, To All the Boys I Loved Before, but especially this one because it has bisexual rep, yes, and especially as it follows like South Asian characters and bisexuality. I'm excited to see how this book kind of subverts the tropes, or like not tropes, but like the stereotypes of like and the misconceptions of bisexuality, because I mean it talks a lot about in the back. But anyway, I'm excited for this book, and I'm so excited to update you about this too. But this one comes out in May of this year, so yeah, keep an eye out for it. Okay, so the next book that was sent to me is Muted by Tammy Charles. This one also looks super interesting. This has actually already been released, and I'm excited to get to this one as well. But this is a novel in verse, and it talks about a black woman's experience navigating the dark side of the music industry. And I think that's super interesting because I've actually read a great number of books that talk about the music industry, like Daisy Jones and the Six. There's that other book that I read with like a pink purple cover on it. I'm not coming up with a name right now, but those have all been like primarily white characters, and I've never read about a like person of color's experience in the music industry, like any person of color's experience in the music industry. So I'm very excited for this, especially because it's in verse. I think the idea of having a music book in verse is just lyrical and like poetic and very beautiful. Beautiful cover as well. Thank you so much to Scholastic for sending me this, and definitely check it out down below. Okay, so the next book that I have here is one that I purchased for myself, and it is The X Talk by Rachel Lynn Solomon. I purchased this book mostly because I've been seeing it a lot on my Instagram feeds, and it just looks like the kind of romance that I really want right now. I think after reading Sunny Song, I was really interested in just romance again and the genre, and I'm just in the mood for it right now. This one is apparently about two exes who have a public radio show, which is, the premise just sounds amazing. Everyone's been loving this, and I know Rachel Lynn Solomon's a really great author in the community, so I'm excited to get to this. Okay, and lastly, these next three books, I'm not going to go too in depth with them because I actually am saving them for a really special video that I'm in the process of filming right now. So I have The Secret Lives of Church Ladies by D. Shaw Philia, this book, Empire of Sand by Tasha Suri, and then lastly The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald with an introduction by Minjin Lee. So these three books I'm saving for a very interesting video. I hope when the concept comes out it'll make more sense, but right now that's all you get to know about these books. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. That is the end of the book haul. I'm so excited for all of these recent purchases. Like, this is one of those rare moments where every single book in this book haul just sounds so interesting and I want to read it like right away, but I don't have the time. So let me know down below what books you've recently purchased. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys on my next video, hopefully. Bye.